Okay, here we are. I got my Kyosho Sandmaster10 here. I've had this a long time. I haven't used this in probably 15 years it's been, I think. But what I've decided to do on account of my extreme boredom here, I've recently had knee surgery. I'm out of work, and I will be for another 2 months. But I've decided to pull this out and restore it. The reason being, really, these were a great little car back in the day. Anybody that had one will tell you so. But this was my first car, my first nitro car. I still remember when I first got it. But I wanted to restore it instead of throwing it away or getting rid of it. But I suppose what I want to do here is look it over. We'll find out what it needs, and we can go from there to try getting this thing back into use. But right away I can see the body is junk. To be honest, I was surprised I still had the body. But I was on eBay today and I found a vintage Sandmaster body. Comes with a wing, and I ordered that, so that's great. I was surprised to be able to find one of those. But here's the buggy is most of it's here. But really right away the stuff I can show you that is going to be a problem, I know. Let me see what we can show you here. You see these rear wheels. And if I remember correctly, this is probably the reason I stopped using it back in the day. When this car was when it was an old car and not a vintage car. You understand what I'm saying? It got to a point where it wasn't worth it. But now I think it is, and I'm going to get it going again. The front tires, not too bad, but we'll still see what we can do about that. Other problems, if you can see, well, I'm missing the battery pack here for the servo unit and the electronics in the car. But what I can tell you is this is an old school AM system, which I think I'm just going to replace this controller and the electronics anyway, just upgrade to a 2.4 gigahertz system and just be done with this. This is really old, you know, they got the old crystals that you had to change out and stuff when you want to change the channel, and they're just out of date. So I'm going to replace that. The servos, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a chance. They feel good and they sound good, but they are old. So I think what I'm going to do is give them a chance before I just go spending money on it. The shocks, you can see, are a little bit stiff. So maybe I'll pull them apart, clean them up, and put some fresh oil in them. They might work just fine, I think. The springs feel good. I think the shocks are just stiff. Now I know I had motor problems with this thing. Was half the reason I stopped using it. What happened, I remember I broke the connecting rod in the motor, and then we got new parts for it. We kind of put the motor back together, rebuilt that, and I never got it running again since then. What I did is I took it to a hobby shop, let them know what the situation was, and I wanted them to get it running, get it in tune for me so I could use it. And their thought was, with these wheels here, they told me that it was not really worth it, that the buggy was about junk anyway. And that's when I stopped driving it, long time ago. But I'm going to fix it up anyway. So the motor is a kind of a questionable thing. I don't know about this. I took the glow plug out last night and I put a little bit of PB Blaster in there, and it sounds good. So that's promising. A couple things I do notice though, and I don't know if it's a problem or not. I'm going to take this all apart and look at it, but this center pin here on the pull starter is a little bit, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a little bit loose. I don't know if that's a problem or if that's normal, but I'm going to find out. And the other thing I can see, and the guy that rebuilt this motor for me must have done this, you can see right in here on the end of this shaft, there's no washer on there. So this gear wants to fall right off of there. I will fix that. But you can also see that this spur gear is chewed to death here. So we're going to need a new one of them. Down in here, there we go. There's a little play there in the transmission, so we'll take that apart. See what's in there. If that's a bearing we can replace, we're going to go ahead and do that. I've never been intricately involved in all of this stuff, guys, so I'm going to be learning as I take this apart. But we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll find out what it needs.